Welcome back again in speaking session. In today's lecture, we will talk about how we can overcome the barriers in the way of your communication. What kind of barriers came in the way of your communication, and what kind of strategies you have to adopt for overcome these kinds of barriers. You know that cross culture communication play a very important role in your communication as well as in your society. So for the gaining reputation, for building confidence, for creating credibility in the form of your firm, then you have to overcome these kinds of barriers that came in the way of your communication. Because when you try to exchange your ideas, when you try to pass your information to others, then definitely you have to keep so many things. You have to keep sides on many issues that is very important for any kind of organization. So what kind of strategies, what kind of things, what kind of planning you have to do if you want to overcome on these barriers, on these problems, on these hurdles, on these complexities that came in the way of your communication. These are very important for your communication. These are very important for your exchanging messages. These are very important for passing information from seniors to juniors. Like if you will pass your information from one person to another person, then you should realize about the barriers that came in the way of your communication. Because if your communication will not be good, your organization, your firm can't be do well. You can't get maximum benefit, you can't get maximum profit from organization if you have a misconception with your workers, with your with your subordinate, all the people. You have to realize and you have to keep touch with them on daily basis, and you have to listen their issues, you have to listen their problems, so that there will be no miscommunication, there will be no hurdle in the way of your communication. To today's lecture we will talk few points, few strategies that can help you in the way of your communication if you want to keep away in the way of your communication, if you want to keep away misunderstanding, misconception that came in the way of your communication, then you should adopt some kind of strategies. You should make a plannings. You have to planning about your organization, about your firm, about your business that you are doing in your current area, not only in current area but also all the other parts they touch with you about business point of view. So these are the following points we should keep in mind. These points are very important. Let's discuss one by one. First one is low contextual culture. Second one is high contextual culture. Third one is now your culture when. Fourth one is now the other culture. Fifth one is don't use slang, sayings, or proverbs in your communication. Next one is speak slowly but distinctly. And seventh one is your language must be clear and simple. One is listen properly. And is you should behave properly. These are the points, these are the strategies you should adopt for your communication, so there will be no miscommunication, there will be no hurdle in the way of your communication. The first point that is very important for your communication, it is low contextual culture. Low contextual culture means most of the countries in the hemisphere, they belong to different hemisphere. They use language for your communication. Most of the countries, They use gestures, postures, verbal and non-verbal cues, slangs, proverbs that can create hurdle in the way of your communication. For example, in some of the countries like India, when you use slangs, yes, might be in some places it means no, might be it means yes. So in different countries your gestures shows different communication, so you should know about the criteria, you should know about the gestures, postures, and your clues, signs. That is very important for your communication. If you want to improve your communication, if you want to build your confidence, if you want to promote your business, then you should use proper language, you should use simple slangs and simple symbols so that other one can understand it, because in most of the countries we use different symbols, slangs, clues. They have a different meanings according to their place, according to their situation. So first thing you should keep in mind, low contextual culture, because it is a very great impact on your society as well as on human beings. As you are living in your surrounding, as you are spending your life in current perspective, then you should know about the culture, you should know about the slangs, clues, because in the globalization different clues give a different meaning and you should understand them. The main strategies that you should know about your cross culture communication, it's your knowing familiarity what is your culture and know about your culture. Know about your culture means if anybody that from different country, that is foreigner, and they will ask from you about your habits, about your dress, about your drinking, about your food, then don't realize that your culture is worse and your culture is not better from their culture. So you should realize that our culture is very good, our culture is very nice as compared to other countries. If you will use different clues, if you will use different symbols, and if you will convince from your communication, then might be they can communicate with you, they can talk with you, they can conversate with you, and you can easily motivated them, you can easily convince them, because in order to communicate well it is very important you should know about your culture so that you can describe the qualities of your culture in the front of the foreigners, in the front of the outsiders, in the front of other peoples. They have a unknown for you and they meet with you in the first time, then you shouldn't realize that we have no idea about our culture. If you realize about his culture, we have no idea, I can't know about my culture, about society, how I wear a dress, how I can drink, how can I live in my surrounding, then it can create misunderstanding, it can create miscommunication in the way of your cross culture communication. So for your better communication, for your good communication, and for your well communication, you should know about your culture so that there will be no misunderstanding happen during your conversation. Another main point you should keep in mind for your better strategies, for your overcome barriers in communication, you know about the other culture as well. If you will know about your culture, along with you should know about the other culture as well, so that you can judge the abilities. You should adopt, you should imitate, and you should copy all the other things that you think that it is very good and it can create great impact on my personality, on my society, on my background situation. So it's very important if you want to convey, if you try to conversate with foreigners, then you should know about the culture of the foreigners, and don't realize that our culture is worse, and don't talk this my country culture is not good. You should try to appreciate your culture, and you should try to give something unique so that other people compare to adopt your culture, your society, and your dressing and other kinds of things. That is very important. If you want to overcome, if you want to become a good communicator, if you try to exchange your ideas, then you should know about your culture along with the culture of other countries. If you will not know about the culture of other countries, then there will be ambiguity, there will be misconception, there will be misunderstanding, and it can create so many confusion in the way of your communication. Like in different countries, ma'am is used for etiquettes, and there are many other words that is used for etiquettes, for ethicals, for social behaviors, for attitudes. Same like this, in Pakistan we are using so many words in our office, in our organization, like ma'am, madam. So these are the words we use in our organization to show respect, along with Mr., Mrs. So these are the etiquettes words you should use in your communication, and you should talk in formal ways. Like if you are talking with someone that is unknown for you, then you should talk in informal way. So it's very important, you should keep in mind about your culture as well as other cultures of the country, so that you can easily talk with the foreigners, to the visitors, and to the unknown people. They visited your country, they meet you in the first time in the history of the life. The main point you should keep in mind, don't use too much slangs, proverbs, or sayings. It creates so many misunderstanding, and it can create obstacles in the way of your communication. If you are trying to conversate with someone, then what you have to do, you don't use so many proverbs, so many sayings, so many slangs. Might be other person can't understand you, and your communication will be fruitless. It become useless when you want to convey your message, but other person just say yes. Actual inwardly, he or she have no idea what you are trying to say them. So if you want to clear your message, if you want to exchange your information, then you should use simple language. Don't use too much slangs for verbs. Most of the time we try to talk with others, with stranger, we use proverbs. So proverbs can be used in a different region, in different area, and you should use for particular person, particular area, particular region, particular place, particular situations. If you think that other person is familiar with your knowledge and he or she can understand you, then you should use proverbs, sayings, or other kinds of complicated sentences in your communication. So regardless of so many knowledge, in spite of so many capabilities, you should use simple and clear language. Don't use too much slangs, proverbs in your communication. Another thing you should keep in mind when you are trying to exchange your ideas, speak slowly but distinctly. If you are conversate with someone, if you are talking with foreigners, don't be hasty, don't utter complicated sentences, don't utter complicated words so that other person can't understand you. You should speak in slow and beautiful manners. If you will speak so hasty, if you will speak speedy, other one can't understand you, and your message will be ruined, and your all the conversation will be effortless. So for the sake of conveying good message to others, you should use simple language. You not speak too fastly, not speak too slowly. In between you have to speak so that you can convey your message as well as other person can understand you. And don't be hasty, don't be quick, and don't be slow, but in you have to go in the rhythm so that other person can understand you in a proper way. Another thing you have to keep in mind, your language must be clear and simple. Like, if you will use complicated sentences, if you will use so many proverbs, so many slangs in your conversation, then it create misunderstanding, it create miscommunication in the way of your communication. So if you want to keep away, if you want to share your knowledge to other, then you should use simple and clear language so that other persons can understand easily without wasting their time. So if you will use complicated sentence, you will use difficult words, and if you will use difficult syllable in your punctuation, then it can create so many confusion in the way of your communication. You should use simple words, and during your conversation you should be poised. After this you again start your conversation, and when you think that other people listening you, they are feeling bored, then you should be poised there and you should be stopped there, and after this you have to start again your conversation. In this way you can convey your message without wasting your time. Another main point you should keep in mind, listen properly. Listen properly means if anybody asks question from audience, from your meeting, then you should listen his or her question carefully, attentively. After this you can give your proper answer in a simple way. If you will not listen properly, attentively, then you can't understand the questions of the audience, and it can create misunderstanding in the way of your communication. If you will listen properly, then you can easily listen the questions of the audience, of the peoples they are listening to you. Then there will be no ambiguity came in the way of your speaking, your communication. So if you want to improve your communication skill, if you want to, there will be, if you think that there will be no misunderstanding, there will be no barriers regarding cross culture communication, then you should listen properly so that you can easily exchange your message without wasting your time. And last one is, it's last and least, it is very important, you should behave properly. All the person they meet with you, they are the part of your organization, they are part of your firm, they are part of your business. You should behave him properly. If you will not behave properly, if you will show aggression, if you will show misbehave, if you will show distractions, if you will be in the way of misbehavior, then it can create so many hurdles. You should treat equally all the people that are the part of your organization. If you should give a proper time, you should give a proper salary, you should give a proper time. If anybody asks any question from you, you should treat him patiently, you should treat him playful manner, you should treat him aggressively, and you should treat him in a good way so that it show that they in real you are a manager, you are a owner of the business. This is the this is the behavior that can lead you, this is the behavior that can give you strength, this is the behavior that can give you lot of profits, that can create good image in the front of your workers in the front of all the peoples. They are the part of your organization.